Primary Tourist, Chapter 4. You know, it seems like forever ago since my last New Hampshire political tourist jaunt. But hell, even that tax day trip in 11 seems like yesterday. Funny, huh? But only yesterday, the day after that tax day, I was figuring out who the Republicans thought could beat Obama, and boy, were they in trouble. Pawlenty? Please. All I saw in him was a lousy swarm alert, the media telling us this guy could win, but anybody that saw him knew better. And don't get me wrong, I wanted Obama to win, but wasn't it better if people that didn't like him had somebody that actually vote for, rather than one more time vote against, even if it means Obama loses? But going down the list, no one stood out as that guy, or gal. Sarah Palin? What a present to the Democrats that would be. The gift that keeps on giving. What they were waiting for was Mitch Daniels running, and we all know now it was going to be a long wait, like forever, and that's a long time. Amongst the candidates actually running, I couldn't see any of them elected as, never mind actually being, head of state. I mean, they actually talked like Romney was electable. Anybody who spent any time in New Hampshire in '08 could tell you that that man never received a welcome he couldn't wear out. It was hard to get a whiff of anything other than 4 more years, but the old factory is an awfully tricky sense. And it's early yet. Was early yet, I should say. Plenty of times for things to deteriorate bad enough that anybody looks better than Obama. Never mind Mitch Daniels, never mind Rick Perry. Don't remember, he was taken seriously then. But Rick Santorum? Newt fucking Gingrich? Does white male Joe Republican really want things to be that fucked up just to steal another election? Does a bear shit in the woods? But more to the point, how likely was that? Not very. But then again, how likely was not one but 2 planes ramming into the Twin Towers? Another one the Pentagon. A fourth was heading who knows where. Damn Republicans. They would use the horrors of the towers for political gain, or try to, but it ain't '04 or even '08 anymore. But you bet your ass there'll be some sort of 10-year memoriam at the Republican convention this summer, is what I was thinking. And they'll talk about W as if he was a chess master. Memory is kind of a fucked up thing. Like Sarah. She was not as good as I remember her. Or should I say, she was far worse than I remember her. Like one day in July of '03, the majority of the day was so magnificent that I forgot how twisted it ended, how bad I felt about myself, how convoluted my feelings about love and life were because of that day. It was another Saturday morning at the undisclosed location, another day that was going to be a scorcher, better to get sleep in before I can't. To sleep, perchance to dream. The dreams will nudge up my temperature because Sarah is in each of them. Her clothes only made some of them, though. Especially now that I've seen her naked, had felt those lovely lips on mine. And I remember it clearly, more than she can say. She was drunker than me, but I was more stoned, so it's a wash. I think I was more stoned on love than weed. I'll tell you this, though. My imagination sure took a powder to reality this time around. The sight of Sarah in my dreams was interrupted by the voice of Sarah in, reality. 11:30. She's up early. You're up early. The veritable crack of dawn. Chess? She was getting cocky about chess. Last time we got together, she had won 2 games out of 10. They were in a row, but still. I have to admit they were great games, though. She went after the king and sneered him. Twice. But of course, it must be a scorcher out there. Oh yes, that's why I was thinking the patio. Ah, the patio. And her. What will she wear? Oh, if she wore her off-pink dress, when the sun started going down, the sun will meld with her skin, and of course she'll be sweating by then in real pretty drops, in a sexy hot way. It was the kind of day when the great white was off the shore. Can't catch 'em, especially me. I can't swim. You dressed? Almost. Meaning? I got my jammies on. Ah, the pink jammies. The two pink jammies. How was that almost? Well, I'm not in bed. I was to be there at 2, which came by quickly. When I got there, I saw she wasn't wearing the off-pink dress. She was wearing the stunning, sexy, stimulating polka dot dress. I didn't dare hope for the polka dot dress. Best of all, she knows the effect it has on me. Margarita, she asked. Marijuana, I asked back. But the real question was chess, and it wasn't if, but when. In the meantime, she looked ravishing with a margarita glass and polka dots. She handed me a margarita served with salt and a smile. Ravishing doesn't even begin to describe how she looked in that dress. Even better without it. Hey, sir, just between the two of us, clothing is great, but nude, especially when her skin is so smooth, so fair. And the perfect summer drink was the margarita. She made a very nice margarita, just sour enough, with a ton of alcohol, but you didn't taste it, so you wanted more. I lit a bowl of weed and noticed her admiring the aroma. Want a puff? No, I'll stick to the Ritas. As I was hitting the pipe, the fine aroma wafted right into her face. Oh, what a nice smell. I took another hit. Oh, okay, let me taste it. She took a nice long hit. Then a nice short hit. Tastes good. Thirsty, though. She drank a big gulp of margarita. Refreshing. And of course she was right. Nothing beats a margarita to wash down marijuana. On the table was her chessboard in pieces. Basic black and white, just like I like. Nothing gray about it. If only I could find a basic black and white world. And the games started, one after another. We both smoked, we both drank. I smoked more than she did, but she drank more, a shitload more. I've forgotten how many pitches she made, but it was a good thing neither of us was driving anytime soon. The day was brutally hot. The bugs were bad right around sunset, but day turned to night, and does anything beat summer nights? Summer nights with a beautiful woman are the best. And don't forget chess, with candlelight and the Buena Vista Social Club on her tape machine. At some point, we moved from chess to dancing, and that was more than fine with me. I was dancing. I always enjoyed dancing, but mostly I was watching her dance. The polka dot accentuating her body, the small perky breasts, her smile, her green eyes, inviting smile, inviting breast, inviting body. So if there wasn't a time to make a move, if this wasn't a time to make a move, such a time never was. I moved to kiss her. She kissed me back. It was time to move upstairs to the bedroom. She was a little woozy from those tasty margaritas. I was more stoned than drunk, so I could not only walk, but lead her up the stairs. Maybe I shouldn't have, considering how drunk she was and knowing what I know now. But remember, I was drunk too. On booze and weed, sure, but mostly on love. Not long after that, the polka dots were on the floor and Sarah was nude in the bed. We were in an intimate embrace. And then she turned away screaming, piercing scream, adding one more layer, sticky, uncomfortable layer of heat on top of a very hot night. And then, to this day, I don't know how she did it, but without getting up, she kicked my legs just below the knees. Once, hey! Twice. That hurt. But it didn't, though. Physically. Emotionally, it was devastating. I'm not sure I've ever recovered. After a few more kicks, I can't remember how many, it took that long to get over the shock, I was all like, I'm so out of here, and fumbling for my pants and thinking, what happened? Where are my fucking keys? Where are my fucking pants? Don't go, almost a whimper. Yeah, right. What will the neighbors think? I was moving towards the door even faster than before. Oh, don't go. You're drunk. Don't go kill yourself in wrecking the car. I'm not worth it. Finally, a statement I can agree with. I stayed. Why, I don't know. Not rationally, anyway. But looking back, I can tell you The good was worth all the bad. It might look crazy from the outside, but love, Jesus, if love ain't crazy, what is? Yet it makes the world go round. So, long story short, I stayed. For almost a decade I stayed. I said that was weird. No shit. See what I mean about not remembering the bad so much? I had forgotten how bad hearing that made me feel. I mean, it happening I have a scary good memory of. The feelings I guess I wanted to suppress. Like now I want to suppress living here. I think I'd rather be homeless. I went back to sleep. To sleep, perchance the fucking dream. There's the fucking rub. How much time left? Really? That long? Hey, mind if I call it a day? I just can't give you the full time today. Next time, I swear. Primary Tourist, Chapter 5. Ever hear of that Zen koan about one hand clapping or a tree in a forest or something else I can't hear? Well, that was what the first Republican debate was this year. Well, last year. Almost 2 years by now. Anyway, the debate was a lot of not Romneys but no Romney. A lot easier to ignore the elephant in the room if he's not in the room. May 5th, 2011 was a day to forget, yet I remember it. That's what living in this madhouse does to you. You remember the most trivial things in order to avoid thinking about how royally fucked you are. But, you know, any party defined by who isn't there isn't much of a party. I don't mean the Republican Party. We all know that that party is in trouble. I mean in a political tourist kind of way. There was good theater there that had little to do with good governance. But any time Herman Cain was there, you had a shot of good theater and no shot of good governance. The guy was a born salesman, and I guess that was how he ran his pizza business. Herman Cain, Jesus, I guess every dog has his day. Just one day, though. One guy actually made sense, on international issues anyway. That was Gary Johnson, former governor of New Mexico. Some people thought he was a natural heir to Ron Paul, a true believer in small government. Little did we know that Ron took the term literally, and as a political heir, he picked an actual heir, his son Rand Paul, in the process of becoming Senator Rand Paul. Just goes to show that nepotism is alive and well and is probably the most nonpartisan thing in Washington. Anyway, neither father nor son was there, but Dad was in Manchester, New Hampshire on June 13th, 2011, along with Mitt Romney, and a bunch of people that were much better characters than they were candidates. My boss used to say something that seems apropos. Remember, Larry was the smartest stooge. How do you like the view in this land of midgets, Mr. Romney? Gingrich and Bachmann were vying with the likes of Herman Cain for number one, not Romney. And of course the only actual Romney, Romney himself, was there. At least he's not Herman Cain or Rick Santorum. That Cain is a smooth talker, granted, even did a little bit of his homework. It just seems like he'll always be selling something, be it cars or pizza or the country. And that Santorum was just plain crazy. He seemed like the nice, reasonable guy that just might go postal one day, and holy Jesus, the carnage. Maybe it's because when I met the guy, he had just put away his guns. But that's another story for another day. Pawlenty was at both debates, but ever since the Tax Day Tea Party thing, I found it difficult to take the guy seriously. Some Tea Party yahoo, I thought. Where are they tonight? Let's face it, the debates, they're about the glamour anyway. Town hall style, they say sometimes, but it's not all about the style either. It's in actual town halls that the real people ask the real questions. And then, eyeball to eyeball, Mr. and Mrs. Candidate answers them. That was what was going on in Bow, New Hampshire at the Old Town Hall at 10:15 on Monday the 26th of November, 2007. Well, it was supposed to be 10:15, but it was about 17 minutes late, or thereabouts. The Old Town Hall. New Hampshire, man, They do town halls right. Where's Bo? Up the road a stretch, Rod said. Who's there? Asked Erica. She was on to me. Rod probably was too, but wouldn't give me the satisfaction of me knowing it. It's a weird kind of macho thing. Nobody understands it, but just about all guys do it. Even me, probably. John Edwards. I'm going right by there, Erica said. I have a meeting nearby. It's about 10 minutes from here. Better figure 20. I knew it was around 15, more or less. You know where that is? I know where that is. Can't say that I do. If you asked me today, all I could tell you is you go on up to the Corner View restaurant, turn right, and keep going straight until the end of time. But of course the road jigs and jags a lot between here and the end of time. It's hard to know which way is straight after a while. Isn't that always the way? Well, I'm going to finish my coffee and go right by there if you want to ride. I'm ready, but I knew Erica. She's got to go to the bathroom or forgot something or has to finish a drawing for the meeting. I didn't know which and don't remember now. But I had time to share a laugh or two with Rod, and before long, Erica and I were on our way. Of course, I could just hop to the car back then. Strokes, man. They've taken away so much from so many people. Not least of all, me. The early part of the ride was all familiar to me, all the only slightly urban landscape of Eastern Concord. It had been a beautiful Thanksgiving weekend. I don't even think I did any political tourism that weekend, and that don't sound like me. But really the season was just starting. After Thanksgiving, all the wannabes spend all their time in either Iowa or New Hampshire. The advanced teams, though, had already dug into those two states, and the media gobbled it up, and they were all over the old town hall. And the locals loved the attention they get every 4 years, loved the illusion that that question they asked candidate X in one town hall or another made the difference. And we saw it happen right here in Portsmouth, Manchester, Salem, or, why not, Bow. What I had to do was get there, which was proving to be harder than I thought. Like I said, we went up to the Corner View and took a right toward Forever. I must say, however, Forever's real pretty. So we're going to Bow's Town Clerk, right? No, the Old Town Hall, 91 Old Bow Road. 19 Old Bow Road, got it. Right about then, there was a fork in the road, and we took the uphill route. Neither of us knew if we were still on Old Bow Road. What time is it? 10:15. I'm late. Oh, you mean now? 9:42. Oh, good. We pulled into, well, I'm not exactly sure what it was. I know it wasn't the old town hall. It might have been the town clerk, and a few people were congregating there. John Edwards wasn't one of them. Anybody know where the old town hall is? Hey, that's where John Edwards is. Anybody? A new guy had entered the fray. Anybody know where John Edwards is? Hank was his name, and he, like New Hampshire itself, was the real deal. He had Concerned New Hampshire Voter written all over him. I think he had a salt and pepper beard, but if he didn't, he should have, if you know what I mean. Yep, a typical concerned, unemployed voter. The old town hall. Yep, been there. Can you do me a favor? Can you give my friend a lift to the old town hall? I have a meeting in Bedford. You know, it's tempting to say that was a concerned New Hampshire voter thing, but I've known Erica when she lived in Boston, and it was the same thing. That was Erica's magic, not New Hampshire magic. No problem. And you can tell by the accent, he was born and bred right here in the Granite State. You from Bow? I'm trying to remember if I've ever been to the old town hall before, Erica asked. Been there. Well, I wish I could go with you guys, and just like that, Erica was gone. First, I should tell you that Hank wasn't his real name, and it's not a protecting the innocent thing. I'm ashamed to admit that I don't remember his name. I feel like a tourist, like an imposter, and I can't even remember his name. Guilty, guilty, and guilty. Yep, first we have to get on Old Bow Road. Name's Hank.
Pleased to meet you. Name's James. I don't know why I gave him my given name instead of my actual name. I mean, I was every bit as much Spike as he was Hank. So, are you big on John Edwards? Some things he says make sense. I've met most of them. Ah, New Hampshire. Only here and Iowa can you, if you put your mind to it, shake hands with the next president if you're willing to, kiss a lot of frogs. Who you like? Oh, I think consummates makes a lot of sense. One person's frog is another person's prince. And a lot of supposed princes turned out to be frogs, let's face it. Come to think of it, I did do some political tourism that trip. Rod and I saw consummates in Manchester that Saturday, I think it was. Among his swag was this bubblegum card that had a picture of, I think it was his high school football team. He was by far the shortest one there. Everyone towered over him. Not the image of our next president. Superficial? Oh, you bet. Welcome to the carnival. Haven't met Hillary yet. Said in a matter-of-fact manner that's only possible in New Hampshire. The last one now shall later be first. The times, to tell you the truth, aren't really changing that much, no matter what the song says. It's only New Hampshire where, once every 4 years, it's fashionable to be a concerned voter. Hank was unemployed. I don't remember where he worked or what he did, but I remember it was a job he had for several decades, and now his 2-income household was a 1-income household. He was about 64. It's tough to get a job at that age. Shit, it's tough to get a job at any age. Before long, Hank was telling me his theories about government. Like I say, it was a while ago and I don't remember the particulars, but what he was talking about as some utopia was the British parliamentary system, as I recall. Now, Hank had no more than a high school education, but he could see that our system was all fucked up. Okay, it don't take a genius to figure out our system is fucked up, but Hank had ideas. Now, I'd be lying if that's what I was thinking at the time, but I did think of enough of it to write a note, which is God knows where, one of 4 different places, 5 if you count the vortex of the universe where things go just to disappear. But mostly I was like everybody else, caught up in the circus, forgetting about how real people are affected by problems, not issues, not talking points, but real problems for real people. And there were plenty of real people at the old town hall. Real people have to get in line, but they get to meet a contender, or is it a pretender? It kind of makes you wonder about the whole primary thing. I mean, it's great that these folks, real folks, folks like me, get this chance to be important, to feel important anyway. But what about Vermont folks, Maryland folks, Texas folks? Hell, what about Rhode Island folks? But you can't do that everywhere for the umpteen million people in this country, can you? And when they started the whole thing, the whole New Hampshire primary, first in the nation thing, the typical New Hampshireite was the typical American. But now, well, how many farmers do you know? Not that there are that many farmers in New Hampshire, but you know what I mean. I don't think Hank was a farmer. He worked in one of the textile mills. That job's gone like so many others. Can he work for the new high-tech factory with his old low-tech mind? Precise, but from another century? Can any of these people gathered in this town hall, gathered in this state, gathered in this nation? I'll tell you, sir, here I am, and this, to call it a shithole, would be an insult to shitholes everywhere, and I'm worried about them. I don't know if that means I'm sick or well, but there you have it. But if I don't worry about them, who does? John Edwards? Please. Funny things about the lines to these events. You get handed all this paraphernalia with real sophisticated points, but all you remember is the glitter. And that, the most fleeting of stuff, becomes the linchpin of your memory. Like this pie chart showing how crazy military spending is. Can't even remember the particulars, but I'll never forget that damn tie clip, I think it was. It's gone as soon as you forget it. If only you can never forget, maybe, just maybe you can live forever. And the pie chart car out front of the old town hall, I'll remember past forever, long after I forget what the military and industrial complex is. And the faces I don't remember but will never forget, if you know what I mean. Concerned voters all. Concerned New Hampshire citizens all. Real important people. For 2 more months. What kind of citizens are they then? You know, whatever they were, Hank looked the part more than anybody else. They all had something to say, so did he. But he looked so much like the real thing, you figured he was from Central Casting. You know what I'm saying? John Edwards would kill for such sincerity. For example, when John Edwards says that president hunting season starts right after Thanksgiving, he speaks the truth. He just seems a calculating, all-image, no-substance political animal when he says it. But everybody knew it was time to pick a president right at the start of ski season. Hopefully somebody will emerge from this mess. As for the flavor of the week, it was Hank. He was the one that the media flocked to. The flavor of the week, but only 1 week. All the TV stations had him that night, and I could sense something sad happening. I hope I'm wrong. But it seemed to me that Hank thought not only people were listening to him, maybe he was right there, but I think he thought they were going to keep on listening to him after January 10th. Well, that was just wrong. Everybody knows that the carriage turns into a pumpkin on January 10th, and it won't matter how perfect he played the part of the concerned New Hampshireite because the role, like his job, is now obsolete. During the question and answer session, Hank asked a question that was very profound, but I don't remember what it was. Everybody thought the question was profound, and no one, I bet, remembers the question, but a whole bunch of them remember the salt and pepper beard to this day. I'll be honest with you. I remember Hank because, you know, he gave me a ride and ended up being the star, and ain't that the wonder of New Hampshire primary time before January 10th, when it meant something to be a concerned New Hampshire voter. But I never knew Hank. I envied him for a brief while years ago. How you doing, Hank? Still voting? Still able to vote? Should I still envy you? I hope so. What's that? Time? Sure goes by quick, doesn't it?